I was watching this video of a woman recently who was talking about how her natural voice is actually deep. And she shared how for years she pushed her voice into a higher pitch to make people more comfortable, to be more appealing, more feminine. And I felt this so deep because I've done that too. I was also recently having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we spoke on this subject while we were watching a show. And this woman was having a conversation, and then she got a phone call. And when she was talking to her man, it went into this very high-pitched, very, okay, baby, I love you voice. And she pointed that out. And I kind of defended it by saying, oh, we women sometimes, we have different voices. We have different voices for different attitudes and different emotions and different feelings and different situations. While that is very true, what is also true is exactly what she said, is a lot of times women change their voices. They change the pitch, the elevation of their voices to appease people, particularly men in a lot of cases, right? Well, there's a version of me that was shaped by comments that I heard when I was younger. Little things. Maybe they were even meant as innocent jokes, but they left marks. Especially when I cried. I had this cry where I got into a very low tone, a baritone tone, and I thank my father for that, who had a baritone voice. But it would drop down even further when I cried, and I can remember, I hear it still echoing in my brain, in my memory of how my older siblings would make fun of that cry, and they would mock it. My mom would joke about it or laugh along with them. But this was all innocent, It was not meant to drag me down or anything like that. But one thing I want to point out of situations like that is, as adults or as teens or maturing people, we don't truly take in account just how deep those little quote unquote innocent jabs and jokes, just how deep they can go for a little child who has not yet reached that level of maturity to know that this is just fun and games and it's not meant to make a wound. But they do. And we carry these wounds with us throughout life. I think as a result, I trained myself to pitch my voice higher. I made myself smaller, lighter, cuter, more digestible. So let's talk about why so many women do this. And I won't even just say women, but people. So many people do this. Why we change our voices. There's actually research that shows women often raise the pitch of their voices in certain settings to appear less threatening, more agreeable, more attractive. And it's not always conscious. Psychologically, we associate higher pitched voices with youth and femininity, warmth, submissiveness, and society rewards those traits in women. Even in media, even in cartoons, the heroine has a sweet, light voice. The strong woman, she gets labeled as harsh, cold, intimidating, There's also something called accommodation theory in linguistics, and it's the idea that we naturally adjust how we speak to match what we think other people want. And for women especially, this happens a lot because many of us have been conditioned to make others comfortable, all of that people pleasing, even at the expense of our own authenticity. But here's the thing. Your voice is your power. Not just the sound of it, but the truth of it. And when we change our voice to survive, we distort it to please, we protect to perform. It's not just the pitch. We start to lose our figurative voice. We hesitate before we speak. We apologize before sharing an opinion. I'm sorry, but I think that, We shrink in moments that ask us to stand tall. When really in all of these situations, we deserve the right to take up space and be spontaneous in our speech. We deserve the right to share and voice our opinion without apology. And we deserve to stay full size in all situations. Some of us don't even realize we've been doing it. And I had this realization a few weeks ago consciously had this realization that, I have changed the pitch of my voice to be more appeasing to people. Not knowing, standing in that truth is actually what's truly attractive. Your real voice, it's what's truly magnetic. But real talk, for many women, for many people, it wasn't about just vanity. I said it already, people pleasing. Many of us have done it to please others, to be more appeasing. For many of us, it was about safety, whether that was emotional safety or even physical safety. We built these habits in the shadows out of self-protection because we were ridiculed or misunderstood or told we were too much. So we shape-shifted. But you know what else lives in those shadows? Shame. And over time, that shame turns into silence. And that silence can harden into disconnection from ourselves, our true selves. So now, I'm inviting myself and I'm inviting you to return, to come back to your real voice, the one that lives deep in your throat, your chest, your womb, your truth. The voice that doesn't ask for permission to take up space. The voice that doesn't rise just to avoid being misunderstood. The voice that trembles when it's telling the truth, but it tells it anyway. I want you to start speaking from there. Practice in private if you need to. Whisper to yourself, record yourself. If you have voice memo on your phone, there you go. GarageBand on your Apple phones, there you go. Even video if you don't have anything else. Record yourself. Let your real voice come home to you. Because this isn't just about how we sound, it's about how we live. Reclaiming your voice means reclaiming your right to fully exist, to speak boldly, to cry freely, to say yes, to say no, to say anything in the voice that is yours. So this is a love note to the women like me, to the people like me, the ones who have been hiding in softness because the world wasn't ready for our full vibration. Let them adjust. You don't need to be lighter. You don't need to be softer. You need to be you. Speak from the body. Speak from the wound. Speak from the experience. Speak from your wisdom. Speak from your knowledge. Speak from your intuition. Speak from your pleasure and your desire. Speak from the knowing. Speak and let your voice your own voice, your true, authentic voice. Let it set you free.